What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got some more lovely new cards from those upcoming Digimon starter decks that we need to be having a little bit of a look at. We are getting towards the end of reveals here, I'll be honest with you. There are not a huge amount more to go, but there are still some new cards to talk about. And of course, soon we're going to have confirmation of the full deck list of these decks. And we're going to have nice clear scans of all the cards, and when that happens I will of course bring you videos showcasing the entire starter decks, because that's the kind of thing that I do. Today, however, we've got 3 cards that we need to be having a little bit of a look at. So let's start with one that honestly we're not going to be talking about for a very long time at all. Candlemon's back! Yay! Unfortunately, Candlemon is back as a generic Digimon, vanilla Digimon. Incidentally, the artwork is amazing on this. This is one of my favourite artworks I think we've probably had in the game so far. The Digimon playing down underneath and the Digitama providing the actual flame. The beach you can see off in the distance. It's wonderful. And to be fair, the card is good. And I don't think there's much of a counter-argument here. The card is good. We've just seen the card before. It's not that it's a bad card. It's not a bad card. It's just a card we've had a bunch of times before. What we have here is a vanilla card. It is a red card, 2 cost to play normally, 0 cost to Digivolve, 3,000 power. Okay. We've seen that card before. A 2 cost level 3, yeah, that's brilliant. But we've seen it. Monodramon from BT1 was this card, like exactly this card. The Toyagamon from BT7 is this card. The Gazamon from BT8 is this card. The Mini Decatchimon from BT9 is this card. And actually, the second official non-promo card ever was the Beamon from Starter Deck 1, which I'm assuming by now you figured out, is this card. So it's not that this isn't a good card, this is a very good card. But we are getting to the stage now where we don't really need it. Like, this is the 6th time we've had this exact card. Which means that before this came out, we could legitimately have played 20 of these in a deck. Because you can play 4 of each and there were 5 available, we legit could have played 20 of these in a deck. I mean, we had one in BT7, we had one in BT8, and we had one in BT9. I'm not entirely sure we needed another one. Obviously, when you're talking about playing sealed decks, this is really good. But it's a cool card that absolutely has a use, and we've seen the use many times. There's just no real need for it outside of a sealed deck, because we've had this card 5 times before. I suppose now you can play 24 of these in a deck? Does anybody want to play 24 of these in a deck? If you do, wonderful news! Moving on to cards that actually do stuff, we've got the Duramon from Starter Deck 13. I should say shout out to the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming and the lovely folks over at DigimonCard.dev for providing our translations. And what we've got here is a rather lovely card. It's a 7 cost to play normally, 3 cost to Digivolve, 7,000 power, all of which is exactly standard. And although it is just a pure red Digimon, it is a mono-type Digimon, it can Digivolve from either red or black. And we see that a bit with this starter deck. And again, for sealed play, this is really good. But also, it's quite good generally, giving you the option to switch between colours on the fly, go up in a black line all the way up through your level 4, your level 2, your level 3, your level 4, and then switch to red when we hit level 5. That's actually pretty good, ladies and gentlemen. I can get behind that. But what does it do? On your turn, when this Digimon would evolve into a card with Legend Arms in its traits, or into any black colour card, the evolution cost is reduced by 1. So basically, the level 6 into which you Digivolve is cheaper by 1. And that's fine. It's not a game-breaking skill, I think that's fair to say. It's not hideously impressive. It is, as I just said a moment ago, it's fine. It's going to help you out. I don't necessarily think this is a reason to, demand that you play this card, but it's a nice handy bonus. And obviously, your level 6 is in the set. You've got Duramon, which is Legends Arms, and you've got Duramon, which is both Legend Arms and Black. So that's clearly where we're building up to here. We're building up into the pair of them, and this is cool. And I like this. And incidentally, you can Digivolve into either of those from here, which is nice. That helps us out very much. So yeah, this is cool. And if that wasn't good enough, we also have a nice little inheritable skill here, whereby at the end of your turn, you may Jogress evolve this Digimon and one of your other Digimon in play into a Digimon card in your hand by paying its Jogress evolution cost, which is moderately important here. Obviously, we've got the Ragnar Lordmon from this deck, which is a Jogress, a DNA Digivolution card. So that's, kind of important. It's nice to have this skill. It's a nice inheritable skill. We see the exact same skill on the level 5 Black in the deck, your Duramon, because obviously you kind of would. That would make perfect sense. So yeah, this is nice. I can get on board with this. It's not necessarily a card that is going to demand that you play it in a million other decks, but in this deck, it honestly does quite a lot to give you reasons to play it, and for that reason, it's pretty cool. But for my money, the most exciting new card that we've seen in the past couple of days may well be an option card. And I know option cards aren't terribly exciting for a lot of the time, but we all know they can be the difference between winning and losing. And here we go back to Starter Deck 12, the Jesmon Starter Deck, and we've got OS Generics. It is a 1-cost option card that gives one of your Digimon 2,000 power for the turn. Which is nice, having an extra 2,000 power is pretty good. That's alright. But when you play it, if you have a Digimon in play, with either Huckmon in its name, or Royal Knights in its traits, you gain a memory, and one of your Digimon gains piercing for the turn. Now, that's pretty gosh darn important, because remember, you're a 2-cost card. So basically here, what happens is you end up just playing this for free. This just legit becomes a free card. Obviously, you pay the memory, but then you get it right back. And remember, you don't actually check to see whether the turn has passed over or not until you've resolved all of that. So your turn doesn't end. You gain the memory back you just paid, and one of your Digimon's got 2,000 power and piercing. And that's actually really cool. Although we do need to be quite clear on the translations here. It is one of your Digimon gains 2,000 power. And then if you've got a Huckmon or a Royal Knight Digimon, you gain a memory and one of your Digimon gains piercing. They are actually given out at separate times, and unless the translation we've got is wrong, and Digimon Card.dev seems to be pretty good at this, they don't have to be given to the same Digimon, which means you can give one of your Digimon an extra 2,000 power that really needs it, but give piercing to a different Digimon that doesn't need the extra 1,000 power, or 2,000 power, but does need the piercing. Piercing, of course, says that when you delete a Digimon in battle and survive, you then get to perform a security check, which is awesome, because generally speaking, you're choosing between taking out a Digimon or trying to take out a security, and here, there's no choice to be made. Because you end up with piercing, you get to do both. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a fan of being able to do both. This is good. And I adore the idea that you can basically get an extra 2,000 power on one of your Digimon, and piercing on one of your Digimon, either the same or different, that choice is up to you, but you're not actually paying any memory to do so. This seems really good. Now, obviously here, if you're not playing a Digimon with Huckmon in its name, or a Royal Knight Digimon, then this becomes pointless. Don't play this card. But if you are, I really like this. I think this is a very good card that is going to see a bunch of play. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I am starting to get really, really excited about the starter decks. I think these starter decks are starting to look very good. And honestly, like every time I see a new card being released, it just seems to start getting better. And that's awesome. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWazzy. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.